Happy Monday and welcome to another episode of the Lake Norman Woman podcast. I am Mamie Lee, editor-in-chief of Lake Norman Woman magazine, and I've got Katie here with me again. Happy October, Katie.
Happy October.
Yeah, I know. It's
exciting. Are you decorated yet?
I don't.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. So we've had some issues with our house. We had a flood happen. It's not a flood, insurance people. It's not a flood. It is a water intrusion. Because that's
massive intrusion.
Yes, massive intrusion. But yeah, so we're still trying to get if I have floors by Halloween, I'll be thrilled. So
you will.
Yeah.
You will.
Started on work recently. And so hopefully we'll be to where we can have floors and furniture again. It will be thrilling. We've been living in our bedroom and our bathroom for the last, 3-4 months. It's been a ride for sure. So be glad. So yeah, I don't know. And I had somebody reach out and would you like to have pumpkins on your porch? And I was like,
no.
I feel like no. I feel like no. I would like to have a couch before I decorate with a bunch of pumpkins on my porch. So I'm just going to leave it as is. It's just going to be very plain. But trick-or-treating, does Natalie still get into that?
Well, this was the year where I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Because usually what we do is there's a campground in Denver that we go to. We camp out for the weekend. They have a phenomenal, each camper or campsite does candy. So we have a blast every Saturday night. I don't know as if we're going to do that this year. And she is at that weird stage of, I want her to still embrace it. She's already picked out her costume. And I think the girls have a plan as to what we're doing. Mm-hmm. I just don't think the parents have been enlightened as to what this plan is.
It's going to get more and more like that as she gets older. She'll be like, I'm doing this, Mom. And then you'll be like, okay, I guess, especially when she starts driving. I feel like now that my daughter's in college, I parent her more than I did when she was 16 and 17. Because, and hopefully everybody listening can kind of remember what it was like to be 16 and 17, right? You feel like you know everything. Your parents are kind of dumb. I remember my grandparents took me out to dinner when I turned 12, so right around Natalie's age. And they said, just me and them, which was rare because I have a huge family. And they said, your parents are going to lose all their sense this year. And if you'll be patient with them, around the time that you turn 21, 22, they'll get it back. So just be patient. And I thought that at the time I was like,
fun advice.
Yeah,
to get.
I was like, that makes total sense. Yeah, my parents don't know anything right now. And so it was so funny now. So I tell 12-year-olds like that now. I was like, you're way smarter than your mom right now, but just be patient with her. She'll get it back when you're about 21, 22. So anyway, my daughter, 19 now, she calls me a lot and she's like, maybe it wasn't so bad at home. But you live and learn and you just roll with it.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those two where you have to have those moments where, I will say this, and Natalie's done this since she was young, the way her brain works, 9 times out of 10, her way of thinking is not wrong. And it's not the way my brain thinks, but she can school me, do it politely, but she has a way of thinking, a way of processing, a way of seeing the world that isn't like mine, but my goodness, does it make sense? And it's like, okay, well, checkmate, because I can't say anything against it.
Yeah.
It's spot on.
I think they're just born that way. They come with their own intelligence and you think because you've already lived a long life that you know better than they do. But it's like, oh, nope, that's actually pretty good. And maybe at your age, I wouldn't have had that insight that you do and you can learn from them. So yeah, realizations every day.
Oh yeah.
I feel like too, our generation of parenting is more like, okay, let's have a conversation instead of just where maybe when I was a kid, and my parents were not like this, but maybe other parents were like this, it's my house, it's my rules, you take it or leave it. But now I'm like, well, why do you feel that way? Or why do you think that way? And being open to have those. Now, there are times where I have to pull the mom card.
Oh, yeah.
And be like, no, this is not, it's going to be this way, and this is how we're going to do it. But also, with our, and this is great to have you here with us, Ansle, today, too, because Katie and I have both been through separation and divorce. And so for me, with my daughter, Katie, she and I were so close, like sisters, fun aunt instead of mom and daughter a lot of the times, because I was trying to protect her from some bad things. And I was trying to, make sure that she had what she needed, which is a double-edged sword, because sometimes then you're like, no, I'm your mom. You have to listen to what I say. These are also the rules for the house, and pulling it back that way too.
I mean, it's like that fine line of being the friend versus the mom, which I think there's always that dance of parent versus friend. Because I tell them, I'm like, I'm your friend, but I'm also not your friend.
Right.
I'm here to support you. I'm here to love you. I'm also here to protect you.
Well,
So it is that fine, like, balancing act of how do all these cards come together so
yeah.
we can have a good time, create memories, but also raise a good kid.
And my mom and I too, I wouldn't say that when I was younger, like a teenager, like, even when I was in college, that my mom and I were friends. But as I became an adult, especially once I became a parent, then you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Please help me, somebody. So I started to like ask her for advice, ask her for more. And my mom and I, we had a great relationship, but it was always parent-child. But then as I got older and an adult, it became more of a friendship too, where she could confide in me some, and I could do the same with her and just go to her for advice. So it's always nice to have. And now that my mom has passed, I've now found some older women in my life that can kind of act in that same way, where we can be friends, but also like, hey, what would you do in this situation? Because you obviously have more knowledge. I'm sure this has happened to you before with your kids or with your grandkids or anything like that.
I find mentorship by older women is really valuable. And when I spot them out just wherever they happen to be, it's like, oh, I'm drawn to them because my mother has passed as well. Yeah. And it's like, you just feel the wisdom in the years that they've spent, the decisions they've had to make, the problems they've had to solve. And it's really valuable. It's like, oh gosh, just, help me find that in my own life, in my own space. And so I find it really valuable as well.
Yeah, it is. I think we've said before on this podcast that you really need to have someone that is mentoring you, but somebody that you're mentoring as well, right? Friends who are like are behind you, not in a mean way, but like friends behind you, friends in your safe space, and friends ahead of you. And so you can glean knowledge from all of that. Because like Katie and I being, same age, same space, it's good to get advice from each other too. Yes. Like, what would you do in this situation? But also like our kids are different ages. So even that way we can get advice, like what would you do with your daughter when she's 12? It's so funny. We were with another family and they had I think a 13 or 14-year-old daughter. And that was really the toughest time for me with her. She was just so angry with everything that happened. We had gone through the divorce, but there was still a lot of growing pains. I started dating my husband now. And so it was a really tough time for us. And the other family that I was with, they were kind of in that same situation, right? Mom was newly separated and the daughter was just really defiant, and she leans over and whispers in my ear and she goes, "Was I like that?" And I was like, "Exactly like that." She said, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "It's okay. You were going through a lot. And when you're going through divorce, you're all like trying to heal yourself too."
Yeah. I think when you're in that space of trying to heal yourself too, that when you see your children struggling, you assume, oh gosh, it's a function of the divorce or it's a function of maybe something I missed as a parent. But sometimes just kids in that age, they're just nuts. Yeah. Or it's a transition time for them. It's a time that even in the most stable of homes, they are going to be a big challenge. Yeah. And so then you have to tease apart what part of this is just normal behavior if you're 13 and what part of it is, do I need to look at to see, do we need to work on our family dynamic as it relates to the divorce so that I can support them the best I can?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's where, like, I think back of when my parents divorced and then when my mom started dating, and there was a lot, it was a very colorful, traumatic time. But like, I think about how I was. And then more importantly, I think about how I treated my stepdad or then to be stepdad. And I'm like, oh, good Lord. Like, we say things always come around, please. Like right now, Natalie she's fantastic. She's this amazing girl. And I like to think it's because of all the tools and all the village that we have around her. And I say to myself, I'm like, I want to be able to give the most nurturing, loving space, knowing that I had that, and yet I was still full of so much pain and anger and hate, and it came out. And so it's like almost that like waiting for it, not wanting it, but I'm also like, I'm fully prepared of what could possibly unfold here because I lived it when I was her age.
Yeah.
Well, and the adults will step up at that time and go, I can kind of see what's going on. I know this is a good kid, and this is just a manifestation of all they're experiencing, and I can extend them grace in this space, and I know they're going to work their way through it, and we're going to love them through it, and we're just going to try to not take it personally. Everyone can't do that, but try to not take it personally.
Well, and that's the biggest thing is looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, we're a 12-year-old or 13-year-old. We've got lots of hormones raging. It's a difficult difficult time anyways. Well, then you have a shift in home and dynamics and family on top of this. And it's like, yeah, this is just a time where we all need to take a deep breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go for a walk. Let's take a deep breath.
Exactly.
Let's hold on a minute and then let's regroup. But
Yeah,
like you said,
sometimes-
not everybody is as open to that philosophy.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That
So
is
that's
correct.
why it's good. All the work that you do with Willow Equine and Soul to Soul is so good too, because it does. Now you work with older teens, but not with kids specifically. But yeah, just having that space for maybe the parents to go and kind of work through what they have too. Because I just remember when I was in that space, like I was doing everything I could just to hold myself
Yes.
together, go to work, figure out how to pay bills on my own and all the other things that come with it. So we're going to come back. We're going to get to know Ansle a little bit better and all the great, great work she does for women in our area. So we'll be right back on the Lake Norman Woman Podcast.
Dreaming of starting your own podcast but don't have the space or gear? The WSIC Podcast Studio has everything you need to bring your content to life. With multiple sets that can be tailored to fit your needs, state-of-the-art lighting, and camera equipment, you'll be ready to create high-quality content. Need a photography studio? We've got you covered with our professional cyclorama wall. Bring your own camera and let our expert producers handle it. Email social@wsicnews.com to schedule your tour today. The WSIC Podcast Studio, where your ideas come to life. Looking for deeper self-discovery and emotional growth? Soul to Soul Connection offers supportive space where horses help you understand your inner world in ways traditional talk therapy can't. Our certified professionals guide you through meaningful experiences that foster reflection, healing, and renewed perspective. Best of all, these services are offered at low or no cost for veterans, first responders, and their families. Learn more at healingwithhorseslkn.org and start your journey toward greater well-being today.
Shake things up, Lake Norman. Great design for you is here. We bring luxury interior design to life, specializing in stunning kitchen and bath renovations. From conception to completion, we handle every detail. Every project is unique. Our expertise makes the difference. Visit our downtown Mooresville studio by booking your 100% risk-free appointment today at greatdesignforyou.com. Design beyond your dreams.
Welcome back to the Lake Norman Woman Podcast. We are here with Ansle, and she is ASH. Those are her initials as well. She lived in a high conflict marriage for over 30 years, walked on all the eggshells, and harbored irrational optimism for decades. She learned the strategies to succeed with an oppositional spouse. She's a CDC certified divorce coach and certified high conflict divorce coach. Wow. And she also holds a master's degree and is a licensed as a nutritionist and health coach. She helps her clients stand up for themselves, prepare to be confident member of your own divorce team, get and stay organized, manage your emotions, communicate with difficult or abusive spouse, and create documentation system that works for you. Thank you for joining us here, Ansle, today. There are so many women who, you got one sitting right here. You've got one sitting right here
bio, I'm like,
who have been through a contested divorce, a difficult divorce, and ladies that have moved here like I did to get a fresh start somewhere new, or people who moved here maybe didn't have that family support, and so they end up getting divorced once they get here. So tell us a little bit about what you do. I know you work with Eileen Stoner, who is one of our clients in the magazine as well. You can also find Ansle in this month's issue of Lake Norman Woman magazine as well. So make sure you look at that ad and check out all the information that she has. But I've talked with Eileen several times, both on camera and off. And I always say, gosh, I wish, because I've been divorced almost 10 years or over 10 years. And I wish that I would have had something like this that was available for me when I was going through this. And I'm sure it was available. I just didn't know about it. So I'm so glad you're here with us to kind of talk through what the options are for women out there.
Well, thank you. And I think the team members that are the options that you have to support you through divorce has changed drastically in the last 10 years. Eileen, for example, is a certified divorce financial analyst. And there are many people who are financial experts, but they're not necessarily experts in the area of finance, particularly for women. Often women find themselves in that spot. And so it's a particular help to women in that space. There are other types of experts experts that have added to the team, which formerly was really just a family law attorney. And then maybe if you were lucky, a therapist that met your needs very well. But we're finding that it is a more complicated process over the course of time, but we can make it easier by adding different members to help with the spots that turn out to be most problemsome. Often that is after you've been in a difficult divorce, you may have really lost a lot of confidence in yourself. And because of that, you may not be able to stand up for yourself as well. You may feel a bit beaten down. And I think from the standpoint of a coach, one of the things that I do is help people find who they were before that gave them strength and allows them to apply this in this new situation. One of the things I also try to help them understand is that there are two really key parts to divorce. There's the story of your divorce, and then there's the business of your divorce. And then the business is understanding your finances, finding an attorney that fits well with you, and determining the path of divorce, if that's the way you're going, that best works for you and your soon-to-be former spouse. But the story needs to be dealt with as well. And that's really about heartache and disappointments and betrayals and all the things that led you to make a decision you never imagined you would make. And you really don't want those things overlapping, because if the emotion gets too overlapped with the business decisions, you can maybe make decisions that don't help you and your children possibly in the long run, but you don't want to neglect either one of those.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times too, it's an emotional process, right? And so you need people, you need a team of people that don't have any emotion tied to it, right? Like for me, even now when I talk about it, it's emotional for me, right? The hurt's still there, because I'm not going to say nobody, but most people don't get married thinking this is going to end in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You know, most people don't go into a marriage thinking that they think this is going to be forever. But circumstances change, life changes, or you maybe pick the wrong person from the beginning, and, you know, but you're young and you think you're doing the right thing at the time. But we all grow and we change. And sometimes in a marriage, you don't grow and change together. You grow and change and become different people.
You do. And it's often said that you don't divorce the person you married.
Right.
You're in an entirely different place. And so many people go, I can't imagine that we've ended up in this place, but you are in fact two different people by the time you arrive at this conclusion. And you can be different people because of growth, and you can be different people because of behaviors that were not consistent with your marriage commitment. There are a variety of reasons, but many people do find them in that position. And the way you handle that has a lot to do with how confident you're going to be going into the next portion of your life, with as many resources, as many options open to you, and with as positive an attitude as you possibly can carry forward.
Yeah. And I think too, one of the best pieces of advice, and we'll get to your advice later, but one of the best that I got from a friend when I was going through my divorce was start thinking of your child as a business. Now, everyone doesn't have children when they're going through divorce, but think of your child as a business, and your job is to raise a healthy child. And we all have coworkers that we have to work with that they don't actually like. So you think of your ex-spouse as a coworker that maybe you don't get along with, but you both have agreed that this is your job.
I advocate that fully, that you may no longer be married to your former spouse, but your relationship now is the business of raising your children.
Yep.
And to do that to the best of your ability, that divorce changes everybody. It will change your children. It doesn't have to be the most difficult outcome for them. And that has a lot to do with how you can work with your co-parent to make the changes as manageable for the children as possible. It is a change, and that will impact them, but it is more minimally impacted based on the relationship between their parents that are separating.
Yeah. One of the big things is that you are part of the Second Saturday groups, right?
I am.
Okay. So tell everybody what that is if they're not familiar with it.
Second Saturday is an organization that started some 30 years ago. It started in California, and the attempt was to help women, particularly, learn about the first steps of divorce in a way that was free, and somewhat anonymous. You can go for a Saturday morning, and if you're concerned about, being revealed, you can go anonymously. And there are chapters of this all over the country now. Typically, a second Saturday experience includes a financial expert, a family law attorney, and someone with a mental health background. We often have additional speakers that may address particular topics such as real estate and divorce. I, as a divorce coach, often speak at Second Saturday, and it's a really great opportunity for women to learn, but to also connect with others in their community going through it. Second Saturday is divided by geographic location, and so the Lake Norman location is held at the Chamber in Cornelius, and we have a very nice and vibrant group that comes second Saturday of every month, and would welcome everyone to come that needs that information. We have many people who come more than once because as those who are starting the divorce process, you all maybe experience this, that when you first start learning all of this new information that was never part of what you had to know, it's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just like so much.
Absolutely.
And so if you come the first time and you get 10 or 20% of the content, maybe make some questions and notes, come back the next time. And it's very relaxed. You can not just be lectured to, but you can talk to the family law attorney. You can get ideas about references of support people that might be helpful to you. And many people, I think, have found that they could pivot or they could have community at that time when it was very, very difficult for them.
Well, I think that's what it sounds. I mean, all of the resources sound so amazing, but I think in this time, it's so critical you do build that community because maybe you have family, maybe you have friends. They're all going to have a skewed view or opinion of the relationship and the divorce and the situation. Being able to come together and just sit together makes you feel not so alone.
Yeah.
That's such an important part of the healing process.
It is. And finding people who, like we said earlier, people in that same space as you, right? They're in that same space. They're all going through the same thing. But then you bring in the experts who either, they've gone through a divorce, or they can just say, here's, you as a divorce coach, right? You can say, all right, here's some things that you can do. Tell us a little bit more about what it is as a divorce coach. What do you help people with? Because you're not an attorney, you're not a mental health therapist, but it's a different kind of job that you do.
It is a very different kind of job. There's several things that if I read the description of a divorce coach, I'll hit the top of those, but I do a lot of things that fall between that. One of the things divorce coaches are very good at is helping you get organized. One of the things you'll find, and you probably, as you're going, I can remember doing that financial affidavit and having to find every form.
Oh gosh,
and
that was horrible.
Oh my gosh. Fill it all out.
Go find every statement you've had for the last 3 years. It's a little overwhelming.
Yes.
So getting organized is one of the things I believe I and other divorce coaches are very helpful with. Another piece of this is communication. And so communication can be with an ex-spouse. Maybe you felt abused in your last relationship and you feel quite triggered every time the phone rings or you see a text come in. That's a place that a divorce coach can help you learn new skills and can actually handhold you as you develop those until you're confident on your own. There's also, I think, being prepared to meet with your attorney. Attorneys are extremely busy. They're very expensive too. And if you can be maximally prepared when you go into that meeting with your attorney, you're more likely to come out with your questions answered and you've used your time efficiently. Many people find it greatly decreases their legal bills because they can more efficiently use their time with their attorney. And I think from a position of a therapist, therapists really help you dig down and find your depression, your anxiety. How are the things that we need to treat with a treatment plan? From my perspective, I look at how do we use that information to help you find a moving forward platform that gives you the life that you want to have. It's very forward looking. But I do often talk with the therapists that work with individual clients with confidentiality and learn what can we do together? What are you working on and how can I support that in their coaching? And then I think we do have family and friends that love us and they want to support what you're going through. But if they've not been through it, or if they don't understand the particulars, the peculiarities of the legal system, they just won't know.
Yeah.
You're going to try to explain, and they just won't understand.
Well,
and
and they've had their own story. They
Right.
have their
They
own
do.
story.
And
They have their own opinions, their own
whether
experiences.
anybody
And
else
it's so
in your
different.
Right. And whether anybody else in your family had been divorced in the past or not, every story is different. Every marriage is different. I will say that I did, before I got divorced, I may have judged some people and like, oh, they just didn't try hard enough. But then once you go through it, you're like, okay, every story's different. And nobody knows what your marriage is like except you. So as much as your family loves you, your friends love you, I think you said that earlier, Katie, they want to pick a side, or they want to, say, go for the jugular. And for me, I was like, I just want
freedom.
I just want to be, I want to be done with this, and I want my kid to be taken care of. And those were my two goals. It's not to like hurt somebody or make the other person feel bad about it, because we both felt horrible no matter what. So just trying to get to that space where you have somebody who can think clearly too, and think logically when you're thinking emotionally. We talk about logical brain versus emotional brain, and use our little therapy words every once in a while.
Good job.
Yes, thank you. All right, we are going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to learn some more about you as well, and then we will also ask you our 3 favorite questions we ask all of our guests. So we'll be right back on the Late Norman Woman podcast.
Dreaming of starting your own podcast but don't have the space or gear? The WSIC Podcast Studio has everything you need to bring your content to life. With multiple sets that can be tailored to fit your needs, state-of-the-art lighting, and camera equipment, you'll be ready to create high-quality content. Need a photography studio? We've got you covered with our professional cyclorama wall. Bring your own camera and let our expert producers handle it. Email social@WSICnews.com to schedule your tour today. The WSIC Podcast Studio, where your ideas come to life. Looking for deeper self-discovery and emotional growth? Soul to Soul Connection offers supportive space where horses help you understand your inner world in ways traditional talk therapy can't. Our certified professionals guide you through meaningful experiences that foster reflection, healing, and renewed perspective. Best of all, these services are offered at low or no cost for veterans, first responders, and their families. Learn more at healingwithhorseslkn.org and start your journey toward greater well-being today.
Shake things up, Lake Norman. Great design for you is here. We bring luxury interior design to life, specializing in stunning kitchen and bath renovations. From conception to completion, we handle every detail. Every project is unique. Our expertise makes the difference. Visit our downtown Mooresville studio by booking your 100% risk-free appointment today at greatdesignforyou.com. Design beyond your dreams.
Welcome back to the Late Norman Woman podcast. So glad to have you here with us, Ansle. Such great advice that you're giving us. Tell us what it was that made you want to go into divorce coaching, because you were a nutritionist and you have a master's degree, a health coach. So at what point did you say, I want to be a divorce coach?
I had a really complicated divorce of my own. I had a long marriage. I was married a very long time, over 30 years, and had children later in life. And so even though we had been married a long time, I still had minor children. And I was really concerned about the model that I was demonstrating for them as a woman in a relationship. And so despite what my great concerns were, I went forward with a divorce, and I learned so much through the process. Not all lessons I would have wished to learn, but I learned a whole lot. And I came out with a real passion that there's information that women don't know that can make the journey a little bit easier. It's never going to be easy, but if it's 15% easier, if it's 20% easier, that means a lot when you worry that you're not even going to be able to make it through the day. And so have a real passion for helping women in this space to find answers, to find solace, to find clarity, find their own confidence and voice again. And so once I got, past a major portion of my legal matters, then I sought out the appropriate training to become a certified divorce coach.
And how long have you been doing this now?
A little over 2 years.
Okay.
I've been certified. I would say I informally did it before that. I
think
kind of
anyone who's
We've
gone
all-
through
Yeah.
it,
School of
informally.
hard knocks.
yeah,
exactly.
School of Hard Knocks for sure. And I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind being transparent and just saying, this is what's difficult. You might want to watch out for these different issues. And so eventually it just seems like, gosh, I feel good when I'm able to help people in this space. And so what do I do? How do I pivot my career so that I can make this something that I can really work effectively to help other women who are going through this?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do want to caveat that say that none of us sitting on this couch would ever recommend that you get it. Like, I never advocate for someone to get divorced ever, because it is not easy. That's what you said. So I don't want anyone who's listening to think like, oh, they just say, just get divorced and it's going to be fine. It is not easy, no matter if it's contested. It's not, it's amicable, no matter what it is. I would never recommend that someone get divorced, because it is tough. It is hard, no matter what you do, and with kids, without kids, whatever. But I do recommend this course, the Second Saturdays, and all the things that you guys do together, because it is so needed for women. A lot of times women don't know about their finances. They don't, they think they do, but maybe they don't have access to every single thing. Or you've been a stay-at-home mom and you may be like, well, what do I do for retirement? What do I do to send my kids to college? And also those questions that maybe you don't think about, because if you get divorced with younger kids, you're not thinking about who's going to buy the car when they turn 16, who's going to pay for college, who's going to pay for braces, these extra things, who's going to pay for sports or activities. That's something that I got into, where there was nothing in our agreement that said this person will pay for after school activities.
One of the things that I see that's most helpful is having a very specific parenting plan or a parenting agreement, because those issues always come up. And it's always, I agree with this orthodontist and not that orthodontist. I agree with this doctor or not that doctor. I'm going to pay for cheer camp. I'm not. It's always a conflict. And the unfortunate thing is your children are caught in the middle. They want to go to cheer camp. They want to do travel baseball, whatever the case is. And so having some kind of expectations or understanding at the outset is very helpful. And if you can do that, then you're not constantly living in an atmosphere of conflict, which I think is beneficial to you as a person healing through this, but also your children feel what's going on. Even if you don't say a single negative word, they're very tuned in to the stress that you carry in your home and that your ex-husband carries in their home, and they feel it. And so it's very hard to hide it from children despite your best effort. So if you can get some of those matters settled, I think it goes a long way to keeping the environment more comfortable for your children to have a good experience.
Well, I think that's one thing as parents, and I think about also as my mom, when we were going through all this, was we think we're hiding things and we think we're protecting. And I said to my mom, I was probably in my 20s or 30s. I looked at her and I said, you weren't protecting me from anything. I said, I knew everything. I won't say everything. I knew a lot of what was going on. I saw the abuse. I felt the abuse. I knew more than any 10-year-old should know. I said, I appreciate you thinking you were protecting me. And yet you weren't. And so then I kind of fast forward to where I was when we started thinking about the divorce or talking about it. It was like, yeah, I'm not protecting Natalie by putting on the facade or putting on the smiling face when she can feel the energy. You can feel the tension. You can feel the fear. I mean, really the fear of what's going on and that uncertainty. So it's basically saying, yep, you know what? An ace is an ace and a spade is a spade. Exactly. And this is where we are. We're going to make some changes and we're going to be happy and healthy.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed is that not only are minor children affected, but young adult children are affected. Yes. Actually, even older children are affected. Yeah. I have a client whose children are in their 40s. She is getting divorced at 70.
Oh, wow. I see sometimes I have friends that their older parents are getting divorced and it's almost harder on them.
Yeah. I agree.
Than it is
On
the
a
younger
kid.
kids.
Mhm.
It's more destabilizing. It's like,
Yes.
what was my whole childhood? It gives them great question.
Mhm.
But I believe in talking to I have 3 young adult daughters. And one of the things I realized in trying to maintain kind of the illusion of harmony in the home, that it really deprived them of knowing who I was,
Mhm.
because I had to live in this box that was acceptable. And because of that, they really didn't get to experience me as an independent person. And one of the things you hope is that you can teach your children authentically, and it really does undermine that.
And when you're walking on eggshells, you can't
Yeah.
do that.
You can't. And when I'm asked, what was your feeling about finding that your parents were going to divorce, their answer was they were relieved.
Yeah.
Because they felt it, they sensed
Yeah.
it. And
My daughter's even said that.
Yeah,
Yeah. And she
Natalie
was
said,
10.
yeah.
Yeah. And she was 10. And she was like, yeah, I was just like tired. She's like, I knew you guys were arguing. Like I was a kid, but I wasn't stupid.
Mhm.
I think one of the other things
And
too.
that's heartbreaking.
It
Like
is.
It is.
It's hard because Natalie has made the comment of she's so happy, and yet it's hard to be bouncing between
Right.
both houses.
Yeah.
And she's like,
No doubt.
but life's okay. Like
Yeah.
life is good. And I'm like, okay, like I'm going to lean into those words that you're telling me and the energy that I'm sensing from her. But there was this release or peace of just being able to be like, okay, like it's mom and I anyways.
Right.
So there's really not much difference right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And being able to lean into now I can authentically have mom breathe or see mom cry or know mom's upset and have mom be upset.
Yeah.
And it's okay. We can express all the emotions.
I'll
You're
always
teaching
say,
her authentic
Yes.
emotions and how to do that
Mhm.
freely, and that you shouldn't try to hide them, that's an honest part of being a human. And that's what you're teaching
And
her,
that's
is how
to me,
to
that's
be.
such a gift.
Exactly. I always say it's better. And I told Katie, my daughter, this too. I said, it's better for you to have 2 parents that are healthy and separate
Right.
than 2 parents that are very unhealthy and together.
Right.
And at 10 years old, it's hard for her to understand that because
It
mom and
is.
dad don't live together anymore. But for her, like, that's what I was trying to teach her. Like, mom is going to be so much healthier than she was when we all lived in the house together, healthier and happier and more well-rounded. And she's going to figure out who she is. That was a huge part for me, figuring out who I was that wasn't a wife or a mom. Like, who is Mamie by herself?
Mhm.
And that was a great journey for me too. So for her to see that in me, I think, like I said earlier, I would never say get a divorce because it's easier, but it did allow me to figure out who I was and what I liked and what I wanted to do. And it led me to this chair right here. And so I would never be here if I didn't advocate for myself and do what was best for me.
I think oftentimes when people first divorce, they don't even know what they want to do.
Mhm.
No.
And it takes a while for it to kind of bubble through the cracks. And then if you have some patience, you go, oh, I really want to do this. And I didn't even know that was in my heart to do. And I think that given the time, you'll find those things
Yeah.
that
Because
you
you
want to
lose
do.
so much of your. I mean, like I think about Jeff and I were together 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, the person I was at 20 sure as heck is not the same woman sitting on this couch
No,
today.
Yeah.
no.
But then also, given different circumstances, you lose whatever ounce of authenticity given
Yes.
the different stressors and trauma in a marriage. And so to be able to say, like, no, I'm going to take a deep breath and we're going to tap back into, because our core self is always there. We never lose our core.
Exactly.
We just lose that connection.
Mhm.
And so being able to find those little blossoms and catch those little fireflies and be able to say, no, this is who we are. And we're going to showcase it no matter what.
I remember buying furniture for my first place, and I had a friend go with me, and she's like, what colors do you like? And I was like, I don't know what colors I like. Don't know. I don't know. I have no idea, because I didn't feel like I ever had the freedom to even choose those things sometimes. So just figuring out who you are, authentically you. So what you guys do. So if someone, we got to ask you our 3 favorite questions. We're not wrapping up just yet. All right. I know. I was about to
We're
wrap this
all
up.
in it.
We're not
Let's
done
keep
yet,
talking.
guys. We're not
Okay.
done yet. Okay. Our 3 favorite questions we ask all of our guests. First one is, what's one of your favorite things about Lake Norman?
I'm going to have that strange answer. I lived in Lake Norman for 25 years. I have not been on the lake one
Oh,
time.
you have not been on the
No
lake.
Is that
way.
not crazy? I think I'm a unicorn.
You
I have-
are
you are a unicorn.
And I
Unicorn.
don't, I like the lake just fine. I don't know why that happened. But what I do really like is the small town sense of community, which I really appreciate. I've lived in not both. I've lived in Huntersville Cornelius and Davidson,
Mm-hmm.
and they each have their own spirit. And I really appreciate the small town sensibility, the sense of community with the events that are present. And then just obviously the convenience to be able to, have a bigger city close by, but
Yep.
you're not immersed in that on a regular basis. And so I'm very grateful for my neighbors and the experiences I get to have with this small town feel.
That's my favorite thing too.
yeah.
I say that all the time. That is my favorite thing about living here too. So it's just so great. But I do go on the lake all the time.
Yes.
Okay.
I live in the lake basically. I will be a catfish one day.
Yeah, maybe in year 26
There
of
you
living
go.
here for
Yes.
me, it will be
We
my
will bring
lake
you out
year.
on the lake.
It will
We'll
be
make
my
it
lake
Mission
year.
accepted.
There you
Yeah,
go.
my lake year.
I
Yeah.
love it. All right. What's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
One of the best pieces of advice I've ever received, and I passed it on to my clients, which I think it applies here, is that the opposite of love is not hate. That the opposite of love is getting to a peaceful neutral.
Mhm.
And I think that that's very helpful when people first divorce, that they have this built up tension, maybe hate, maybe they're very strong emotions. And that a goal is not to go, I'm going to hate this person forever, because there's discontent for sure.
Right.
But to get to the point where you can see it as a neutral experience with some perspective, and that's the way you view that former relationship.
Well, I think that's so powerful because I've had friends who have had the horrible, life-sucking divorces. And that was
Yes.
one thing. I said, we're not doing that. Like it's going to be as amicable as possible, but also for the fact of I don't have that much hate inside of me.
Mhm.
Even to this day, I don't hate my ex-husband.
Oh, yeah, me either.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love him. That's probably part of the problem. But, there's that element of I'm not going to put that much hate and disdain and negative energy into a relationship or a court case or life in general, because all that's doing is sucking out of me.
It is
It's
sucking out
not
of you.
doing anything beneficial to anything.
And I think hate is also a powerful connecting emotion too.
Absolutely.
And so if you're connected with hate, you're still entangled in that
Mhm.
relationship, and it prevents you from taking steps forward as your own adult in your life, making your own choices.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
I've had so many friends where I'm like, just let it go.
Yeah.
You don't have to lay it down, but you have to let go.
You do
Yeah.
have to let it go.
For
Because
Yeah,
the only
yourself.
way you're going to
peace of
find peace
mind.
for yourself, it has nothing to do with the other person.
It's for
It's,
yourself.
I need this
Mhm.
peace and
Yeah.
freedom within me. So this is what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yep.
when you hate somebody, it's like, or wishing bad things is when you drink poison expecting them to
Them to
die.
die,
Yep.
right?
It's it's never going to happen.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and
that's
what's one of your
powerful.
core values?
So what you just said kind of feeds into that. I think my core value is kindness. I try to, as a mom, impart that to my children, and I like to think that they still carry that with them. I think if you carry forward with kindness, whether you're in the midst of something as difficult as a divorce or just your daily interactions with your neighbor, that gives back to you, and hopefully it adds something to your community. And so I value that very, very highly.
Yeah, that's a great
Mhm.
one. Yeah. Okay. So if people want to attend Second Saturday, what's the best way? Do they need to register or how does that work?
There is a registration. You can sign up at Second Saturday. You can look and find the link for that. There are also other support groups in the area that add to Second Saturday. One is called Her Next Chapter. That's on
Love that.
Instagram. You can find that and the link for that. And so I hope that we get to see you at some of those upcoming meetings, because it's a great way to meet others going through your same experience and also get some great information as well.
Absolutely. And then if somebody wants to contact you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
I'd recommend them reach out to my website. It's Ash Divorce Coaching at Gmail. So yeah, that's what I would
All right.
suggest to do.
Thank you so much
Perfect.
for joining us today, for the great information and what you're doing for the women in our area. You can also check her out in this month's issue of Lake Norman Woman magazine. Make sure you pick it up. All Here is Teeters, 350 businesses around the Lake Norman area available for you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
This was a fantastic conversation, and I think the ladies listening are really going to get a lot out of it. Whether you're going through a divorce or not, just how to live
just
with
thinking about
peace and with kindness in your heart is what we all need to be doing.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys for another great episode. And we'll see you next week with a very, very special episode with some pink cancer survivors for our Pink Pages issue that we do in October every year. We're going to have some wonderful breast cancer survivors. They're going to join us here on the couch. I can't wait for that episode.
Me either. It's super special.
Yes, so special. So we'll see you guys next time on the Lake Norman Woman podcast.
Have a great week.